Hello, this is Thursday the 28th of January and our English lesson today is all about indirect speech. So we did direct speech yesterday. Today we're looking at indirect speech or reported speech, you might sometimes see it called. But before that, we are going to look at our grammar. So we're thinking about the passive voice in grammar this week, remember. The passive voice is all about what is being done to someone or something, whereas in the active voice, it is all about the person that is doing the something. So, for example, the active voice would be, the children ate some cake. If we were turning that into the passive voice, you would bring your cake, your object, to the front of the sentence. So, some cake was eaten by the children. Okay, so you've got that form of the verb to be in was, and you've got your main verb, which is eaten. Okay, so the Greeks attacked Troy. What would that be in the passive voice? Have a little think. What would you write down for the passive version of that? Troy is going to come to the front of our sentence. Was attacked by the Greeks. Okay, so you've just flipped that around and put the focus on your object, your place. Troy was attacked is the key part. There's your verbs. Okay, so pause the video now. Give yourself 2 minutes of writing 2 more examples of active and turn them into passive. So 2 examples, please. Off you go. Okay, so is this active? Is this passive? So I'm going to read these sentences out for you, and you can just write down an A or a P, depending on whether you think this sentence is active or if you think it is passive. So I'm going to read the sentence first, and then you can have some time to write those down. Harry bought a new bag for school. Is that active or is that passive? Write down an A or a P. What do you think? My bike was stolen by a burglar. Collars are worn by many cats. The restaurant critic tasted the ice cream. The dog is being chased by the cat. Okay, hopefully you've written something down for each of those, an A or a P. Do you think it's active or passive? So let's reveal the answers. The first one, Harry bought a new bag for school, is active. My bike was stolen by a burglar. There's a clue in that one about the verb that's been used. That is passive. The burglar stole my bike would be active. My bike was stolen by the burglar is the passive. Collars are worn by many cats, also passive. The restaurant critic tasted the ice cream, active. And the dog is being chased by the cat, passive. Again, there's that clue in your verbs. So can you change these sentences now from active to passive? So these are already in the active voice. We are going to change them into the passive. So Philip Pullman wrote The Firework Maker's Daughter. How are you going to change that one around to turn that into the passive voice? The band recorded a new single and a poisonous snake bit Jake. So pause the video now, give yourself 3 minutes, a minute per sentence, to rewrite these sentences in the passive voice. Okay, the first one, we should have flipped that one around and had the firework maker's daughter was written by Philip Pullman. So you're flipping it around, changing those verbs slightly. The band recorded a new single would become the single was recorded by the band, and a poisonous snake bit Jake would become Jake was bitten by a poisonous snake. Okay, hopefully you got all of those correct. Give yourself a tick if you did. Don't worry if you didn't. Okay, so today we're thinking about indirect speech. It's sometimes called reported speech. And you're talking about what somebody else has said without directly quoting them, like we did yesterday. So we will not be using speech marks at all. Here is an example of some reported speech. The King of Troy told us that he was devastated by the destruction of his kingdom. We will be using the third person. You will not be saying I in any of it because it's not a direct quote, okay? And again, we're including those how they said it, told us, commented that, reported to us. So here are some examples of indirect speech from our newspaper report of the Troy ploy. So there were 2 longish bits on that. Our reporters managed to catch up with some of the fleeing Trojans. One said that he was sorry for the trouble they'd caused. He added that the plan had been rather good. However, he'd preferred not to be woken up in the middle of the night by a raging horde. Okay, so all of that section is reported speech. We haven't got a direct quote from him, but we are reporting back what he has said. Then we've got the section at the end. Helen was rescued just after midnight and returned safely to her husband. The happy couple has said that they will issue a statement at a later date. So it's not saying Helen said we will issue a statement at a later date. We are just reporting what she has said. Okay, so here we have again our Greek soldier and we've got Odysseus. And I was wondering whether you could pause the video and turn these into indirect speech. So they're already in direct speech using speech marks. Can you turn them into indirect speech? So we've got Odysseus commented, the plan went perfectly. The Trojans fell for our trick. And the Greek soldier, we've got a Greek soldier who had been inside the wooden horse told us we were ready to take down the city. Okay, so pause the video now, give yourself 3 minutes to rewrite these sentences as indirect speech. Okay, so for our Odysseus one, I'll do it in a different colour. Let's do it in green. Odysseus, no, it's not coming out in green. Let's change it up here. Odysseus, we could have commented, we could keep that, or told us that his plan went perfectly and that the Trojans fell for his trick. So we are mentioning him and his, not I, because we are reporting what he has said. Okay, so for the Greek soldier, a Greek soldier who had been inside the horse, just paraphrasing now, told us that he was ready to take down. You could either say the city, you could say Troy. You can slightly change it when you're reporting speech. Okay, that he was ready. It's not saying we or I, it's putting that into third person. Okay, so your task is to fill in the missing gaps on the table. So on the next page, I'm going to have some direct speech and some indirect speech. So you might be going from direct to indirect. You might be going from indirect to direct. It will all become clear on the next slide. So for example, the direct speech I had was we should be able to outsmart the Trojans, said Odysseus. Now I was turning that into indirect speech. So Odysseus told us that his army should be able to outsmart the Trojans. Okay, so you will need to pause the video now and fill in the table. So some are going from direct to indirect, some are indirect to direct. So pause the video, give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to fill in these quotations. Good luck, and don't forget your punctuation. Will you need punctuation? And remember, for your indirect speech, it would be in third person.